Hey, Tyler.
Lance, I have big expectations from you today. You promised me a show. I even put the pink jacket on, and it's 90 degrees in this house.
Yeah, how hot is it?
Now, I'm not kidding. I think my kids turned the thermostat. I was starting to sweat after a few minutes, so it's starting to cool down now. I think I'm ready for this long presentation of yours. It better be worth it.
Ready to keep it to 6 hours. That's my promise always.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to learning. Your knowledge of AI impresses me on a weekly basis. Not many people know, but I get the pleasure of talking with Lance once a week just to learn from him. And I'm excited to see this presentation of yours.
It's always my pleasure hanging out with you. I learned a lot, and again, this was your idea to do this, so I appreciate that. This is a re-presentation, if you will, of a session I did at the Premier Inc. Breakthroughs 25 or 2025 conference last week in Washington D.C. And this is the second year in a row that they've brought me back. As I looked at the tracks, they have different tracks for different verticals, like senior living and hospitals, healthcare, clinical. They had a lot of AI this time, more so than ever, which you would obviously expect. And the focus of my presentation, which you'll see once we get into the slide, was really focused on the resident experience. And when we're creating software and dreaming about ways to serve, we're always looking at all of the different audiences, not just the operators or the people who pay us to do stuff, but their customers who have a passion for serving senior citizens. And as we know, most older folk have a challenge with the technology. And so having it be Apple friendly, if we will, golden handcuffs, easy to use, wants to bring you back, draw you in. That was a big part of the presentation. Did a lot of new metrics, things that are happening now. We had a great room of executives, asked a ton of questions. We burned through all 60 minutes. And again, it was a real honor to be able to serve that group of people. Tyler, it's an honor to serve you here today and be able to recast this presentation and share to the world all the work that we did and we put into it.
I'm gonna pass it back for everybody. If you don't know as well, Lance is a partner of Bold Integrated Payments. If you need integrated payments or embedded payments or want to learn about how to monetize payments, check out Bold Integrated. Lance is a partner of ours. It's always a pleasure to support your business as you have us. Let's get into this presentation.
All right, Tyler, I appreciate you engaging in this replay of what went down last week. And I'm really excited about the questions and the interactions that you and I are going to have today. First thing that I want you to notice is that this entire slide deck was put together by artificial intelligence. All the graphics and even the words. Just a few short weeks ago, AI could not put words, grammar proper on a slide. And if you look on the bottom right, all of that was put in place by AI. There's no typeset there at all. You'll notice the formatting's off a little bit, and I left that there for the realism. Left-hand side, QR code that takes you to my LinkedIn profile. That is a live QR code that works, that AI embedded. I didn't have to, do Photoshop and move things around. I try not to be a graphic-oriented person. I leave that to other people. What you see on the slide right here was created by just a couple of prompts through artificial intelligence. The entire slide presentation was done that way. So as I was dreaming about this time that we have together, one of the things I thought about was we're going to do something called a blind poll. Now, to know that AI doesn't know me, we're not near artificial general intelligence, AI put together an agenda. And if anybody knows Lance Bell, I don't follow an agenda. I certainly don't follow the times. So if AI knew me, it would have the topic and it would have little smiley faces beside it, and that would be more in line with how I deliver a presentation. But nonetheless, what you see here on the screen, created by artificial intelligence. Now, blind poll. I hope this is the first time you've ever experienced this. This is a new thing that I was dreaming about. Often when you're trying to get a group engaged, you ask them, hey, raise your hand if this or that or what have you. And what I have people do is just close their eyes. So, Tyler, I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to just relax a little bit, maybe shake your hands, just kind of let the stress of the day just kind of fade away a little bit. And I want to ask you a question. And the question I have is, over the next 2 to 3 years, do you have any anxiety or fear about artificial intelligence kicking you out of your job. And I asked the people to raise their hands with their eyes closed and keep their hands raised. And then I had everybody open their eyes and look. And we had 50% of the people in the room had their hands raised. So angst in place with artificial intelligence. So I thought it was a great way to get the engagement and get everybody going as the presentation was the last day of the deal. Well, there are a myriad of tasks. I don't keep this really singularly focused. We're going to talk about different types of technology, all tied in artificial intelligence. And then I'm going to introduce Rudy. We're going to have some fun in a live demonstration with our digital AI assistant. And then we're going to do a little futurism, and that's going to be the presentation today. So the first clip that I have is 2025, if it were to be called the year of, it's the year of agents or agentification. That's what it's about. And basically, Tyler, what an agent is, it's a small piece of software code that's tied to a large language model. And you have these agents that are working together. They're strung together. And their goal is to work together to get a higher quality output on whatever the task is. This is all tied back to business process. It's all tied back to automation. There's a lot happening in sales processes, marketing processes, accounting processes. It's just off the rails. And another type of AI has to do with the senses. And so visual AI, one of the things that was an exciting topic was the ability to take a picture of an invoice or the picture of a receipt and have that automatically charted to the proper accounting codes. Tyler, in our company, when we're doing quality assurance, we use visual AI to take pictures, images of guest checks and receipts. And the AI analyzes all of the items on the guest check, the prices, the sales tax, the math, and makes sure everything is as it should be, as if it were presented to a real customer in a real dining room. So there's lots of different ways that this all works together. So what we're going to do, we're going to kick this off. Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, they've built an entire library, an entire software platform on AI, and he's talking a lot about agents. This is a very recent clip. I want to share this clip with you to give you an idea about what we're talking about. You can see there on the picture, we got a little input output. We've got agents that work together. They think through problem solving, and you're going to see that a little bit in my second clip. Memory is a big deal, and we've got memory within our system that I'll share with you, and computer and tool use. So let's go ahead and kick it off with Jensen.
Agentic AI. Agentic AI, agents, is a very big deal. As you know, in the beginning, with pre-trained models, people said, but it hallucinates. It makes things up. You're absolutely right. It doesn't have access to the latest news and data information. Absolutely right. It gives up without reasoning through problems. It's as if every single answer has to be memorized from the past. You're absolutely right. All of those things, you know, why is it trying to figure out how to add or count numbers and add numbers? Why doesn't it use a calculator? You're absolutely right. And so all of those capabilities associated with intelligence, everybody was able to criticize, but it was absolutely right because everybody largely understands how intelligence works. But those technologies were being built all around the world, and they were all coming together from retrieval augmented generation to web search to multimodal understanding so that you can read PDFs, go to a website, look at the images and the words, listen to the videos, watch the videos, and then take all of that understanding into your context. You could also now understand, of course, a prompt from almost anything. You could even say, I'm going to ask you a question, but start from this image. I could say, start from this text before you answer the question or do what I ask you to do. It then goes off and reasons and plans and evaluates itself. All of those capabilities are now integrated, and you can see it coming out into the marketplace all over the place. Agentic AI is real. Agentic AI is a giant step function from one-shot AI. The one-shot AI was necessary to lay the foundation so that we can teach the agents how to be agents. You need some basic understanding of knowledge and basic understanding of reasoning to even be able to be teachable. And so pre-training is about teachability of AI. Post-training, reinforcement learning, supervised learning, human demonstration, context provision, generative AI, all of that is coming together to formulate what is now agentic AI. Let's take a look at one example. Let me show you something. It's built on Perplexity, and it's super cool. AI agents are digital assistants. Based on a prompt, they reason through and break down problems into multi-step plans. They use the proper tools, work with other agents, and use context from memory to properly execute the job on NVIDIA accelerated systems. It starts with a simple prompt. Let's ask Perplexity to help start a food truck in Paris. First, the Perplexity agent reasons through the prompt and forms a plan. Then, calls other agents to help tackle each step using many tools. The market researcher reads reviews and reports to uncover trends and analyze the competitive market. Based on this research, a concept designer explores local ingredients and proposes a menu complete with prep time estimates, and researches palettes and generates a brand identity. Then, the financial planner uses Monte Carlo simulations to forecast profitability and growth trajectory. An operations planner builds a launch timeline with every detail, from buying equipment to acquiring the right permits. The marketing specialist builds a launch plan with a social media campaign and even codes an interactive website, including a map, menu, and online ordering. Each agent's work comes together in a final packaged proposal, and it all started from a single prompt.
So what I loved about that was how, again, we've got teams of agents that are working together in order to get things done. This came out a few months ago, maybe 4 or 5 months ago now, Tyler, when deep research came out. And the ability to take a thing and a topic, high level, important topic, and allow a group of agents to go out and surf the web and share information and prioritize it and create a report for you. Some of the reports I'm getting now are between 30 and 60 pages long, depending on the context and how I'm giving information in order to get great information or a great product out. And all the time that you and I have been working together, how has your life changed in using AI? How's it helped you be more productive as CEO?
Not only is my productivity increased with the use of AI, but I've seen it affect my team. There is a focus now on building AI into our products for the use by customers, but also how do we incorporate it into our daily tasks as an organization. I've been able to just utilize the single shot AI to help craft my schedule, to create persona of myself, to throw and bounce ideas off of, which I know you call dreaming, and educated me about, using AI to help you dream, or multiple AIs, which is really a conversation with access to everything the AI can about the topic you want to engage with. These things have helped me make better decisions myself. And that decision became to form an AI department inside of our organization. We actually are now expanding a team that's going to have the sole purpose of integrating tools available through AI into every single department of our company. While we're building and developing, that is another path. The other is to utilize what others are building and developing. And that gentleman's named Tony. He's going to start on that project for us in September and build that team.
Outstanding. Yeah, it's an exciting time to be doing anything in the realm of software right now, especially as it's advertised that AI will end software development. It actually frees us up to think more about the user experience and how to have more of a quality product that's out there, more modern, if you will. Outstanding. My next question for you. We got just one more short clip. I didn't put a lot of clips into this, but I wanted to really set some context here for you, Tyler. Question today. Do you know what the most powerful large language model is today available in the marketplace?
I do not.
The picture on the slide gives you an idea. It would be the Rocket Man.
It's Elon.
This would be Elon, and this would be Grok 4. And actually, we're talking about agents, Jensen and agents, and Grok 4. They're going to talk about their solution called Grok 4 Heavy. So this is the big bad solution to Grok that's now available. Give it to Elon here.
With the Grok 4 Heavy, what it does is it spawns multiple agents in parallel, and all of those agents do work independently, and then they compare their work, and they decide which one. It's like a study group. And it's not as simple as majority vote, because often only one of the agents actually figures out the trick or figures out the solution. But once they share the trick or figure out what the real nature of the problem is, they share that solution with the other agents, and then they essentially compare notes and then yield an answer. So that's the heavy part of Grok 4, is where you scale up the test time compute by roughly an order of magnitude, have multiple agents tackle the task, and then they compare their work and they put forward what they think is the best result.
Yeah, so we will introduce Grok 4 and Grok 4 Heavy. Sorry, can you click the next slide?
Sure.
Yes. So basically, Grok 4 is a single agent version, and Grok 4 Heavy is the multi-agent version. So let's take a look how they actually do on those exam problems and also some real-life problems.
Yeah. So we're going to start out here, and we're actually going to look at one of those HLE problems. This is actually one of the easier math ones. I don't really understand it very well. I'm not that smart, but I can launch this job here, and we can actually see how it's going to go through and start to think about this problem. While we're doing that, I also want to show a little bit more about what this model can do and launch a Grok 4 Heavy as well. So everyone knows Polymarket. It's extremely interesting. It's the seeker of truth. It aligns with what reality is most of the time. And with Grok, what we're actually looking at is being able to see how we can try to take these markets and see if we can predict the future as well. So as we're letting this run, we'll see how Grok 4 Heavy goes about predicting the World Series odds for like the current teams in the MLB. And while we're waiting for these to process, we're going to pass it over to Eric, and he's going to show you an example of his.
Yeah, I guess one of the coolest things about Grok 4 is its ability to understand the world and to solve hard problems by leveraging tools like Tony discussed. And I think one kind of cool example of this, we asked it to generate a visualization of two black holes colliding. And of course, there are some liberties. It's, in my case, actually pretty clear in its thinking trace about what these liberties are. For example, in order for it to actually be visible, you need to really exaggerate the scale of the waves. And yeah, so here's this kind of in action. It exaggerates the scale in like multiple ways. It drops off a bit less in terms of amplitude over distance. But yeah, we can see the basic effects that are actually like correct. It starts with the in spiral, it merges, and then you have the ring down, and like this is basically largely correct.
So with these agents working together, they're taking all of human knowledge and they're on the edge of asking questions that humans haven't thought about. And that next stage is referred to as artificial general intelligence. Right now, it can take the bar exam and score in the top 1% of all attorneys who take the bar exam today. It's in the top 5% of master's students, PhD candidates on just about every topic there is. And the way it's getting there is it gets a question wrong, it saves the answer. The next time you ask the question, it gets the question right. And so it's building on correct knowledge, and it's getting to that edge. I think we're still a few years away till we get to super intelligence. This is its ability to create new proteins without a human asking it to. You can just start. We're going to get into a lot of really awesome things in medical sciences. And so what you see here on the screen, HLE, there's two different exams. They have the same acronym. Humanities last exam is one of them. This one isn't. This is a human learning equivalency. And basically what this shows is that the first time in our history, human history, an LLM agent model got more than 50% of the questions right, when compared to a human being who got 100% of the questions right on all subjects, all sciences across the board. So a completely randomized test with questions that have not been asked of the agent. It's at 50% right now. So it's the best it's ever been, and AI today is the worst that it's ever been. And so that's kind of how the stage is set for where we're moving in the business world and in the serving world using AI and using agents. Do you have any questions about those topics yet before I delve into the next one?
How has agentic AI changed the game through your eyes in the hospitality space?
Well, when we were out at DC at this conference, one of the things I was dreaming about is with a digital assistant who can serve any person type, and you put the roles and the security around that person type. Here's my vision, Tyler. You're walking up to your favorite bar and grill, and there's a banner by the front door. There's a giant QR code, and it says, "Let Susie entertain you tonight." Some catchy slogan. You scan it, and you're going to get what I'm about to show you here, a digital assistant on your phone. And that digital assistant can answer any question about the business, any question about the food, the happy hour specials that are going on. That assistant can help you with anything. While my wife and I were in DC, my wife found a very high rated 4.6 out of 5 starred restaurant that was near our hotel. And we went there and we got sat at the same time as another couple got sat, and we were waiting to be served. We were there about 5 minutes before we were greeted, and the other couple got up and left. Now, the host brought water, so we had water, but the server didn't come by for over 5 minutes on the initial greeting. In fact, the food was good and the service was miserable through the entire experience. If I could have scanned a QR code and had my phone and asked questions about the wine list and ordered my glass of wine and got my wife her cocktail and had that go to the bar, I don't have to wait on a human being to come serve me. I can choose to be served the way I want to be served. So by human or by AI. And this can even be in a hybrid model, Tyler, because I can start off talking with humans. And of course, today, most systems have scan the QR code. We do, you do, and you can do your payment on your device. Well, why not have it tie into the digital assistant straight to your electronic wallet and have the digital assistant say, here's your total. How much of a tip would you like? There's a surcharge. Just walk you right through the payments. And everything's done by voice. You don't have to tap the screen. You don't have to do anything. Get your loyalty points, have the AI engage you. Are you a regular? Are you a local in Washington, D.C., or are you here visiting? How often do you visit? There's all types of rich demographic information that could have been exchanged and stored in my user profile, just in case I ever happen to be back in D.C. But in this particular case, Tyler, I would be sharing how lackadaisical the service was. And I would trust that information when it got back to the owners, and they would have the opportunity to look at their operation or possibly just that individual who was working for them.
And specifically going down, thank you for that explanation. The agentic AI, you are considered on the leading edge of AI development. And I'm curious, for you, what's agentic AI done for ServingIntel?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So we're a Microsoft shop. And 14 years ago, it was hard to say that out loud. But today we're fairly proud of that fact. One of the things, we use Copilot Studio. We were one of the first companies to be granted access to what was AI Foundry. Today it's AI Studio. And we have the ability to go in there and we build our own agents out. So we put in agents that help our sales team manage leads, manage contacts. They help our account management team manage current partners and current partner needs. And so the ability for lead nurturing is the obvious one. Everything that a salesperson does, the email interactions, everything is stored into what Microsoft calls the Dataverse. all of these agents tie right into the tables of that dataverse, the database of our entire company. That includes accounting, sales and marketing, customer service, all the way over to developer ops. And one of the things I love about it is we're automating these processes. We're freeing our people up. We look at anything. I mentioned earlier visual AI. Today we take pictures of receipts, and AI tells the accounting team what the receipt was about and who it's for based on where they were at. So everything gets charted. That's an example of this system being used together. But I'm really excited about lead nurturing, lead funnel management, and the ability for our company to interface with people. In fact, we have that next. Our digital assistant has different modes. I'd mentioned, we call them people types. And I believe it's on the next screen. There's a little resonant there that's using the system. ai.servingintel.com. You can go there right now and you'll get a sales version, this is what we call it, of our company. Think of it like a digital ambassador. And that version of AI will tell you anything you want to know about why you as a business should be working with ServingIntel. And through the interactions, we're asking you, hey, what's your first name so I can engage you? And we're collecting who you work for. Are you in the market for a system? We're basically asking through conversation, qualifying questions that get passed to the sales team. And we have lead generation using the AI itself. So all of this, the building of the client files, the building of the lead files, nurturing, all these things, we turned on 5 sets of agents in our CRM just over the last 4 weeks.
That's fantastic, Lance. So today I'm curious to how you present agentic AI. How do I bring this into my business? Now, I'm asking this question from the users of your software.
Oh, absolutely. So each of our partners we're rolling out right now, and we're blessed to have served the largest senior living community on the continent, and we like to use. We've got a copy of their data set, and so we sanitize it so we're not using real live data, and personal health information. All of that is protected through the rules of the rule of the software. So an operator can find out things like sales. Personal information, you can tie it into your Outlook or into your Gmail. So the digital assistant can help you manage your email. It's a full web surfing agent. This is truly like having a personal assistant right there by your side. And so we can help you. And then we're just turning on more and more things through APIs. We have over 100 integrations before we got deep into AI. The integrations are going really crazy deep right now because in AI, Tyler, is the only way that you can ask a question, have the voice get converted to text to the right question that goes out to the right source that brings you back the right answer, all in a very short period of time. We as humans, we don't like to wait around for stuff. All right, Tyler, the way our digital assistant, Rudy, works is it's a web application. So you can see here I've got an Android phone. Apple, doesn't matter. We're using progressive web application, PWA technology. You don't have to go to the store. You don't have to download it. You go to a website, ai.servingintel.com, and it'll say, do you want to say this is an icon on your home screen? Can we use your microphone? Can we use your camera? It'll use GPS. So it'll know where you're at. It'll just set up around your life, all working on your personal device, whether that's a cell phone or whether it's a tablet. So I'm going to fire Rudy up here. And as a super admin, I have access to all of our partners' databases. And then the big part about this is I'm going to be using a lab system copy of a senior living database. But for an operator, if you have one community, great. If you have 100 communities, great. Because you can ask about information in a specific community, or you can ask about a region. You can ask about communities in a state, all types of information. And again, this is my voice to a text prompt, to a SQL query, to Azure's database, get the information, bring it back, and provide it. So I'll do a little engagement here, and then I'll pop up for your questions as we go. So I'm connecting right now to Rudy.
How can I assist you today?
I'm fantastic. How about we start off with the weather forecast for tomorrow?
Sure, Lance. I'll check the weather forecast for tomorrow in South Elgin, Illinois. Please hold on for a moment while I gather the information. The weather forecast for South Elgin, Illinois on Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025 is as follows. Current conditions, sunny, 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Hourly forecast, 12 a.m.,
Hey,
68
Rudy,
degrees.
that's a lot of data, baby. How about giving me the high temperature tomorrow in Fahrenheit, and that's it?
The high temperature for tomorrow in South Elgin, Illinois will be around 88 degrees Fahrenheit.
Excellent. So Rudy helps me by I'm connected to my greater world outside of the senior living community. So Rudy, would you do me a favor, please, and tell me what sales were for last month?
Please hold on while I search the database for the sales data for last month.
So we got it on the screen, but he was more quiet. I think I scolded him a minute ago, and he so I said too much information. He was very quiet this time. Hey, Rudy, let's go a little deeper. Let's have a little bit of fun. Can you give me the sales for last month broken down by revenue center, please?
Please hold on while I retrieve the detailed sales data for last month, broken down by revenue center. Here are the sales for last month, broken down by revenue center. Blend, $1,800.86, 34 items sold. Breezeway Cafe, $882.02, 21 items sold. Island Cafe, $2.55. Lindy's Cafe, $11,684.10, 364 items sold. Palm Grill, $14,984, 576,099 cents.
Rudy, that's awesome. I appreciate all that rich information. Why don't we look at the data another way? Can you give me a list of the top 5 selling items for last month?
Please hold on while I retrieve the data on the top 5 selling items for last month. It seems that there is no data available for the top 5 selling items for last month. If you have any other...
Now, what's great about this is anytime all of these conversations are not only stored in a vector database, but they're also analyzed by artificial intelligence. So anytime there's a request that breaks, and what I just shared with you works the vast majority of the time, but for some reason it didn't work just then, it's stored, it gets polished. I kind of liken AI to a child. The more polish we put onto it, the more APIs, the more that it grows up. You have a resident in an apartment, and they're going to host some folks over. And so, Rudy, I've got some friends coming over tomorrow night, and I've got a lot of ground beef and some jalapenos and tomato sauce in my refrigerator. What kind of amazing dish could I make that would impress my friends tomorrow evening?
For a tasty and impressive dish using ground beef, jalapenos, and tomato sauce, you could prepare spicy beef stuffed peppers. Here's a simple recipe. Recipe name, spicy beef stuffed peppers. Recipe description, flavorful bell peppers filled with a spicy ground beef mixture, baked to perfection, and topped with melted cheese.
Thank you, Rudy.
Serving.
I appreciate you giving me all that wonderful information. Last couple of questions for you, Rudy. One of the people coming to my apartment tomorrow night, I'm particularly fond of, and she was a college professor, 18th century French poetry. Who would be like the most famous poet from that area and time?
To match the interest in 17th century French literature, one of the most famous and influential figures would be Molière. Molière was a renowned playwright and actor, often celebrated for his comedies and sharp satire of French society. His works, such as Tartuffe, The Misanthrope, and The Imaginary Invalid, remain classics in French literature and theater. If you're looking to impress her with some literary discussion, mentioning Molière could be a great way to connect over shared interests.
Excellent. I appreciate that information. So those are some of the business cases, the real life ones. We're adding events, which we're really excited about. That's one of the engagements where a resident could say, what are the events on the calendar for tomorrow? And you can hear the yoga, the shopping trip, and ties into reservations. So you can you can reserve a seat on the bus. These are all in the works right now. And it just continues to grow and grow. We have short-term memory and long-term memory that's placed into this. And an example of that would be, this would be just a real quick one.
Lance, can you explain to me the benefits of long-term and short-term memory embedded into the AI
Absolutely.
agent?
Certainly. In AI systems, the concepts of short-term and long-term memory play crucial roles in how information is processed and managed. Short-term memory. Short-term memory helps the AI maintain context over a conversation or task, enabling it to provide coherent and relevant responses. Task efficiency. It allows the AI to focus on the current task or inquiry without being overwhelmed by the entire conversation history. Long-term memory. Knowledge retention. It stores important information, facts, and user preferences for future interactions, enabling a more personalized and context-aware experience. 2. Learning and adaptation. Long-term memory helps the AI learn from past interactions to improve its ability to assist and offer better advice over time. Together, these memory systems enable the AI to be both responsive in the moment and informed by past interactions.
So let's do a little simple demonstration for Tyler, Rudy. What is the number 34 minus my favorite number?
Your favorite number is 8. So let's calculate 34 minus 8, which equals 26.
Excellent. And the next time Tyler's in Chicago, he's going to want to take me to an expensive steakhouse. How will I want my steak cooked?
For a luxurious steakhouse experience, you might enjoy a prime cut such as a ribeye, known for its rich marbling and flavor, or a filet mignon, which is tender and lean. If you prefer something truly indulgent, a porterhouse offers both a tenderloin and a strip steak in one serving. Enjoy your meal.
How will I have my porterhouse steak cooked?
A porterhouse steak is often best enjoyed when cooked to medium rare for the ideal balance of flavor and tenderness. This ensures the steak remains juicy and flavorful, allowing the rich marbling to melt beautifully. If you prefer your steak more done, medium will also be a great choice, offering.
Medium is the sin. Store that in memory.
I've noted that you prefer your steak cooked rare. If you have any more preferences or specific requests, feel free to let me know.
Answer your question?
That did answer my question. I'll ask another, if I may.
Please.
What's the experience boundaries that you envision for Rudy and everyone that's going to use it at one of your senior living facilities?
You say boundaries.
Yeah,
please.
What's the boundaries that you see? What's the limits? Where does Rudy stop? We're talking about steaks. We're talking about weather. We're talking about booking a reservation. Is there a limit to what Rudy can do?
Not from a functionality standpoint, no. If the data is in a database, you can call it, retrieve it, edit it, augment it. Not an issue. We think of things in terms of like human psychology. And so you're dreaming about this. You're going to have a lot of widows and a lot of widowers in a community. And so there's a lot of opportunity for romance. And one of the questions that comes up from time to time, you could think, it's kind of weird to think about it this way, stalking, technology stalking. You know, can I ask questions of another person that's down the hall in another apartment and find out personal information? The answer is no. Each resident's personal information is in a silo, and they can only have their information. Now, we're looking at something we refer to as friends, where we can basically have a bridge between two or more people. And that way, the vision is, I'm going to go yoga tomorrow morning. I have a friend, she likes to go yoga when I'm doing yoga. And so she'll get a push notification, a message letting her know that I'm doing yoga tomorrow because we're friends, and she can come down and join me. And so shared activities across a friend bridge is a new concept that we're dreaming about how to engineer right now. But this does come back to, you think of it in terms of like Facebook and all of the different privacy settings that you have in Facebook. Ours aren't nearly that deep because we have a closed audience. We have interactions with the public from a family perspective. And that's a whole nother conversation. Maybe you don't want your kids knowing that you eat chocolate fudge sundaes every night. Because you don't care and they do care. And so, you know, right now, today, through our portal, a web portal, a child granted access can see everything that their adult parent is eating through a transaction report. And, with the data being in the database, Rudy can provide the same thing. That's what you think about. What if the resident doesn't want? What if the resident wants Rudy to lie to the kids? Would Rudy lie? I can tell you today the answer is no. I try to break him and crack him all the time. So we're really focused on human interactions, how to add value, quality of life to people who are living in a senior living community. And it does extend beyond that. We have most of the employees, we got a disparity in age. There's a lot of folks that are close to retiring that work in senior living, and a lot of youngsters that work in senior living. We have an employee people type. And so you can serve employees. What were my sales today? We're starting to have senior living communities take tips and do auto gratuity. And so, how much money did I earn today? Getting past the old just straight state hourly wage. So there's a lot of different ways to look at this, and we love the requests. That the long-term memory, AI analyzes long-term memory. AI gives us recommendations on what we should be doing with the APIs and taking this further and further and further. And so we automatically get feedback, which is just absolutely fantastic.
Are you accepting requests? You said you love requests, but if they were to ask, can you receive the scheduling so that our staff can ask their digital assistant, what time do I start work tomorrow? Mm-hmm. If you were asked this, what's it look like inside of your organization to take an ask and see it through to delivery?
Oh, absolutely. So with our history, our foundations coming from hospitality, we've got a database and a time clock module. And so in senior living, because you're looking at usually it's several hundred employees at these communities, and they're using a third-party time clock system. And so we're not getting the punch data in order to do that. But if somebody's using our clock in and clock out labor scheduling module, we would be able to give the employee a wake-up call, an alarm 1 hour before their shift starts or whatever their preference was, and their phone would go off and let them know you need to be at work in an hour so they could get a move on in order to get there on time. Coaching, again, it's a personal assistant, right? You get an employee who's habitually late. The operator could tell the AI to work with the employee to help them better manage their personal lives so they start getting to work on time.
What would that look like, an AI telling me to get better at my time management? Can we ask Rudy?
Yeah, it depends. As I say, it depends on the way you embrace the technology, right? Some people, the general consensus is that AI is going to be a crutch for people. It'll allow them to think less. But the reality is you think about different areas of your life that you didn't think about before. And a lot of people, let's stay with the youngsters, not pointing out any generations, but if you have people who are habitually late, a lot of organizations allow that to happen, the excusification of humanity. And so if not given the opportunity to raise expectations, a lot of humans will lower. They'll come down and they'll perform below where they should be at for the skills that they have. And so the digital assistant is that accountability piece, Tyler. It's that opportunity to help know what reality is, especially in accordance with time, and be able to give metrics back to the employee so they're better able to do stuff. And this gets into operations, Tyler. What if I'm a C server and you're in the dining room with me and you're an A server? Everything you do, every table you approach has a timestamp, every order you put in, everything you do is in the database as Tyler, the A player. And the Rudy could be my coach that helps elevate my C game up to a B game by thinking of doing my job in different ways so that I'm more productive.
Is Rudy available to your clients today?
It is, absolutely. It's on a limited rollout right now. We're still in a beta release right now, but we're not, for anybody that wants to have it, who's a current partner, we don't say no. It's not, and today it's not in a chargeable state too. We're absorbing the cost in order to get the quality feedback and everything. It's no additional charge today during this limited window for people to be able to engage with the system. But if we're out, just like Anthropic, OpenAI, Google, anybody that's out there adding value, there's a reoccurring revenue stream that's just in the digital agent itself. So there's a possibility that one day the residents and the employees and the operators are paying for the business intelligence, and the hardware and software just come along for the ride.
Help anyone who's listening understand when you say you're absorbing the costs. What cost is associated to the utilizing Rudy?
All of the technologies that are deployed, all of the agents to make everything work. We have our own LLM. We were the first company to create a large language model for the senior living industry. This was in March of 2024. Actually, I lied. 2023. It's over 2 years now that we've been doing this. So we were the first ones to put out an LLM. Our LLM works in conjunction with other LLMs. And right now we're exclusive, not just the way we rolled out. We use many different models from OpenAI, but we're also, because we have AI Studio, we could use DeepSeek's models. There's a lot of great models out there. There's a lot of open source. DeepSeek is an open source model. There's a lot of great open source models out there. So even when you have an open source model, you still have to take it, put it on a server, and run the server. Then you've got the technologies that's sharing everything. It's referred to as WebSocket technologies. So in order, you heard in my interaction with Rudy, my ability to cut him off, and while he's in the middle of a weather forecast. I can do that because Rudy is talking and listening at the same time. That's a bi-directional pipe, and that costs money. So all the infrastructure, all of the compute is all paid for by us at this point in time.
Does costs increase with usage?
Absolutely. There's actually a term for this. The cheaper that a technology gets, the more that people use it. And that's what constantly has been happening. So AI usage continues to go up. The cost for like an API call continues to come down. And when the API call cost comes down, we do more API calls. So the net positive for companies like OpenAI and Google is the revenues from AI continue to go up, and they will continue to go up as it automates more items. And this kind of plays back to, something I say often in a lot of these different conferences. Don't worry about AI taking over your job. Worry about another human being using AI taking over your job, because there'll be a multiple factor more productive and more efficient than you will be not using AI.
Thank you, Lance. Those are important details. I think everybody should understand that costs for services ultimately will go up through the adoption of cloud services and AI. And I think that those are subscription models. And while we've become more accustomed to them, that the price will increase. And is it the value there? As you see here, a personal agent for a senior living resident to have someone to talk to someone to ask what's going on tomorrow for activities, what are my friends signed up for tomorrow, where it may be too late to outreach to them in the evening, but you can see who signed up for what, and you can decide before you call it a night what you're going to do the next day. These things are unavailable through probably traditional channel. You can't get out of bed and go walk down and say, okay, who's signed up on the sheet for tomorrow? And that's how maybe it used to be, but the digital age is here and people are signing up through that. This is tapping into those databases and making it available. One of my big takeaways here is it sounds like your approach is endless, that if there's a facility that has data and they want to make that data available through whatever other service they use, they could pipe that data into Rudy.
Correct. Yeah, our database, we're a multi-tenant database in Azure's cloud, and there's no limit to what we can store in that data warehouse. So as we receive census information, we're at the final stages. I think we're going to announce this month. We're almost out of this month, but our HIPAA certification and our SOC 2 Type 2 certifications are done. So we focus heavily on personal privacy and personal security, protecting all of this data. And so how it crosses over in these, what I refer to these bridges, friend bridges, so that people can interact together. It's a big part of the future of this. We're set up for that already because an operator with 100 senior living communities, all their residents, everybody is in one database. And that's how we're able to provide answers that are at the enterprise level very quickly and very efficiently.
Lance, I don't know if there's more of the presentation, but it's been pretty insightful.
That's awesome. Well, this is the fun part. This is the whipped cream and the cherry on the whole thing. Yeah, let's talk about the future. So where's all this headed? This is dreaming forward over the course of the next 1 to 5 years. This is going to be rolling out very fast. But the term that I want you and everybody to walk away from is superabundance. This is where we're headed as far as our future with these technologies, how they're taking place. And so one of the things that we hit on is, I'm just going to read it. I hate doing this, but it will create a future of abundance where there are no scarcities of goods or services. Elon Musk is one of the huge proponents of everything that's going to be superabundance. So let's talk about electricity. The cost of electricity is going to crash here in the next couple of years. And that's because we're on the edge of mastering fusion technology. There's a Tomahawk reactor in Europe that ran for just over 2 hours nonstop just a few weeks ago. We're at an energy coefficient today of 0.67. And what that means is that for 1 unit of energy that we put into a Tomahawk reactor, the fusion reaction gives us 2/3 energy out. So we're almost at break even on energy. These reactors that they build at the 100 megawatt level are projected to put out 10 times more energy out than the energy that goes in. So a 100 megawatt reactor can create 1 gigawatts of electricity. So the cost is going to drop. We're still going to have the issues of transmission, getting them from point A to point B. There's also micro fission reactors that are small, self-maintaining. They're using different elements besides uranium and plutonium, so they're much safer. And these could be buried in somebody's backyard, and they can power anywhere from 1 to 10,000 houses for 25 to 30 years. So that's going to help with the transmission piece of this. So fission and fusion are going to significantly drop energy costs going forward. Home building, this is something right now, supply is very limited to this day in the United States. Costs, a lot of people talk about a bubble. A lot of people also have most, if not all, of their retirement equity tied up in their home. Well, today, through 3D printing and manufacturing techniques, you can build a home that's just nearly as custom and as exquisite as any home put together by a general contractor for half of the cost per square foot. So homes that are coming out in the $80 to $100 per square foot range will be competing against homes that are going anywhere from $180 to $250. So affordable housing, but housing that's custom, that's on a foundation, that's made to withstand an F1 tornado. These are all of the techniques and things that are here today. In fact, Tyler, you can go on Amazon right now, and for a short $39,000, you can buy a custom home and have it delivered wherever you'd like to in the United States. And farming's a huge one. I saw a video clip of a robot. It was 1 row wide, so about 4 feet across, had a big solar panel on top. And the whole job of this robot is just to have wheels, just cruise down a row of crops, and it had bars of lasers on it. And all it did was zap weeds. And when the laser hits a weed, it implodes it, super hot energy, implodes it from the inside out, so it kills what's below the ground. Think no chemicals being sprayed on top of our food anymore. So we're going to be getting healthier food products out. less insecticides and herbicides coming out of all of this. And the cost of this, because we have robots, we have tractors, GPS, we got all this automation, the cost of the food is going to continue to drop while the abundance of the food will continue to rise, the productivity and the output. And then I talked a little bit earlier about medicines. AlphaFold is a model that creates custom proteins. And mRNA technology, this is pre-2019, was and is an amazing therapy for helping young children who have genetic diseases where their bodies can't produce a certain type of protein or enzyme. And that messenger RNA delivery module that got turned into something else can actually go into that child's body and teach the body at the DNA level how to create that missing protein so they have a long, healthy life. AlphaFold and mRNA technology are coming together to create therapies that are customized to the person's DNA. These are the things that are out today. We already know visual AI can read a CT scan, an MRI scan, or an X-ray better than a human being. In fact, there was a recent study that came out, Tyler, that it was doctors' success rate, doctors with AI, and then AI alone. AI alone had the highest success rate on reading for cancers on scans because the doctor with AI oftentimes thought the doctor was smarter than the AI and overruled the AI. Interesting factoid. And so AI is sliding into healthcare right now to give us better therapies, better health outcomes. This is going to turn into longevity going up significantly. And we last few years, unfortunately, we've had a dropping in life expectancy here in the United States. That's going to reverse very quickly. And I see it one day, the norm's going to be north of 100 without any issues whatsoever. So this is the period. This is the wrap up. This is a new thing, Tyler. It's called Q&A squared. So I had a bunch of questions locked and loaded for the audience. They had questions for me. This is the new way I like to close it. So what are your takeaways out of this? What questions do you have? How do you want to wrap this up?
What do you think the opportunities are for society to operate alongside of AI in robots? We have robotics now in the future for building homes. We have them in our horticulture. Now we have them in, I said that wrong, horticulture. And now we have them in the medical field. If anybody is out there, and if you had to give advice, where would you point them to say, how do they build a future for themselves?
I tried to buy a robot. That was a big thing on my to-do list for this year. And you can buy a robot today. There's one company on the planet that will sell you one today. It's called Unitree out of China. And what I was really excited about is their base robot started at 16 grand. And that was within my tech budget for getting that robot. And then when I talked to the company, I got their price list. Imagine buying a car with no wheels, no anything. just metal. That's what the robot was. It had no hands, it had no sensors, it had a battery and some gyros, and that was it. So by the time I added all the stuff I wanted on my robot, it was $56,000, and that was outside of my tech budget. I watched videos on programming a robot operating system or an ROS, and just teaching the robot how to do stuff out of the box. It would have been the time investment would have been worse than the money investment. So here's the answer, Tyler. Here's what's happening today. Two of the companies, obviously Tesla with the Optimus 3, and then US Robotics, that was bought by Hyundai. They are both building robots like crazy. They're both expected to have, Elon's goal for this year is 5,000 robots. All of the robots that Elon is building right now in Tesla are all going into Tesla factories. Every one of them is automating their own companies. Hyundai, all of the US robotics robots that are being built in Boston are all going back over to Japan, and they're going into Hyundai's factories. So the first wave of robots coming out, we're talking about humanoid robots, not the stationary arm things that we've seen since the 1980s when they first came out. These are actual walking, talking humanoid robots that are doing things way beyond just the factory floor stuff. So for the next year and a half, So not towards the end of 2026 will you and I be able to buy one for our home that will be ready to serve us in our home. So we're a little ways, and it's going to start at about 25,000 for that first robot that comes out. And so I think there's a lot of people that can justify that. Well, obviously we're talking about a fraction of the human population. For people, what I tell them, I mentioned dreaming. A big benefit of AI is dreaming the what ifs. How do you do the alignment of my passions, my purpose for being on this planet, and the technology? How do you bring these two things together so that they work together? I've had a little passion. This is way back in the back. I'm going to open the dark closet right now, Tyler. I've had a genre of Christian rock opera. Imagine a gospel group and Pink Floyd coming together. Something that I don't believe exists today. I can go to AI and have the lyrics created, have the music created, have the songs. I can have my voice cloned. If I wanted to be the singer, I wouldn't do that to humanity. But I could put all this together. And there was a story, I don't remember the name of them, but there was a virtual band, a band that got a social media president and all these people. The virtual band was driving revenue by putting out songs that people liked. And if you're the creator behind the technology, you're no longer limited to having to go out and pay for guitar lessons. Your dreams can become so much real, so much faster, but it's all about engagement. And I teach classes here outside in Chicagoland. Usually it's to older adults that are not tech savvy at all. And in these classes, it's getting these people to dream, ask the questions that they wouldn't have thought asking. And Tyler, here's the biggest one. They always get worried. How do I do my prompts right? Yeah, what's the structure? What's the verbiage? And it's so hard for them to see that little chasm, jump that little baby ditch. AI will tell you how to make the most amazing prompt for AI. All you gotta do is ask. It's just that simple. So I've been blessed to have so many people come back to me after my classes, and they're just excited. My life has changed. I'm doing this. I'm writing articles on social media, and I got a blog post, and people are living out their dreams. And Tyler, that's what this should be about. Technology that helps people live out their dreams, more time for creativity, less time for busy work. Let's let the robots take out the trash.
Thank you, Lance, for that very detailed answer of AI is the opportunity for you to have more time to do more.
Amen. Well, thanks for doing this.
Thank you for the presentation. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I definitely had some takeaways here. It's your enthusiasm for it to embrace AI rather than to fear AI inside of the world. And I'm ultimately impressed with the work you're doing at your organization. I have a pleasure of talking about it with you every single week. You certainly have a vision of how you want to change the senior living experience. And I'm looking forward to watching your organization thrive. Keep it up.
Appreciate you. Thanks for supporting us.